There's wind. It's windier the higher you get. The wind is thin. Through the shadow it's cold on your wet skin. On the ladder in the shadow your skin looks very white. The wind makes a thin whistle in your ears. 4 more rungs to the top of the tower. The rungs hurt your feet. They are thin and let you know just how much you weigh. You have real weight on the ladder. The ground wants you back. Now you can see just over the top of the ladder. You can see the board. The woman is there. There are 2 ridges of red, hurt-looking callus in the backs of her ankles. She stands at the start of the board, your eyes on her ankles. Now you're up above the tower's shadow. The solid man under you is looking through the rungs into the contained space the woman's fall will pass through. She pauses for just that beat of a pause. There's nothing slow about it at all. It makes you cold. In no time she's at the end of the board, up, down on it. It bends low like it doesn't want her. Then it nods and flaps and throws her violently up and out, her arms opening out to inscribe that circle, and gone. She disappears in a dark blink. And there's time before you hear the hit below. Listen, it does not seem good the way she disappears into a time that passes before she sounds, like a stone down a well, but you think she did not think so. She was part of a rhythm that excludes thinking, and now you have made yourself part of it too. The rhythm seems blind, like ants, like a machine. You decide this needs to be thought about. It may, after all, be all right to do something scary without thinking, but not when the scariness is the not thinking itself. Not when not thinking turns out to be wrong. At some point, the wrongnesses have piled up blind. Pretend boredom, weight, thin rungs, hurt feet, space cut into laddered parts that melt together only in a disappearance that takes time. The wind on the ladder not what anyone would have expected. The way the board protrudes from shadow into light and you can't see past the end. When it all turns out to be different, you should get to think. It should be required. The ladder is full beneath you, stacked up, everyone a few rungs apart. The ladder is fed by a solid line that stretches back and curves into the dark of the tower's skewed shadow. People's arms are crossed in the line. Those on the ladder's feet hurt and they are all looking up. It is a machine that moves only forward. Climb up onto the tower's tongue. The board turns out to be long as the time you stand there. Time slows. It thickens around you as your heart gets more and more beats out of every second, every movement in the system of the pool below. The board is long. From where you stand, it seems to stretch off into nothing. It's going to send you someplace which its own length keeps you from seeing, which seems wrong to submit to without even thinking. Looked at another way, the very same board is just a long, thin, flat thing covered with a rough white plastic stuff. The white surface is very rough and is freckled and lined with a pale watered red that is nevertheless still red and not yet pink. Drops of old pool water that are catching the light of the late sun over sharp mountains. The rough white stuff of the board is wet and cold. Your feet are hurt from the thin rungs and have a great ability to feel. They feel your weight. There are handrails running above the beginning of the board. They are not like the ladder's handrails just were. They are thick and set very low, so you almost have to bend over to hold on to them. They are just for show. No one holds them. Holding on takes time and alters the rhythm of the machine. It is a long, cold, rough white plastic or fiberglass board, veined with the sad near-pink color of bad candy. But at the edge of the white board, the edge, where you'll come down with your weight to make it send you off, there are 2 areas of darkness, 2 flat shadows in the broad light, 2 vague black ovals. The end of the board has 2 dirty spots. They are from all the people who've gone before you. Your feet as you stand here are tender and dented, hurt by the rough, wet surface. and you see that the two dark spots are from people's skin. They are skin, abraded from feet by the violence of the disappearance of people with real weight. More people than you could count without losing track. The weight and abrasion of their disappearance leaves little bits of soft, tender feet behind, bits and shards and curls of skin that dirty and darken and tan as they lie tiny and smeared in the sun at the end of the board. They pile up and get smeared and mixed together. They darken in two circles. No time is passing outside you at all. It is amazing. The late ballet below is slow motion, the overbroad movements of mimes in blue jelly. If you wanted, you could really stay here forever, vibrating inside so fast you float motionless in time, like a bee over something sweet. But they should clean the board. Anybody who thought about it for even a second would know that they should clean the end of the board of people's skin, of two black collections of what's left of before, spots that from back here look like eyes, like blind, cross-eyed eyes. Where you are now is still and quiet. Wind, radio, shouting, splashing, not here. No time and no real sound but your blood squeaking in your head. Overhead here means sight and smell. The smells are intimate, newly clear. The smell of Bleach's special flower, but out of it other things rise to you like a weed-seeded snow. You smell deep yellow popcorn, sweet tan oil like hot coconut, either hot dogs or corn dogs, a thin, cruel hint of very dark Pepsi in paper cups, and the special smell of tons of water coming off tons of skin, rising like steam off a new bath. Animal heat. From overhead it is more real than anything. Look at it. You can see the whole complicated thing, blue and white and brown and white, soaked in a watery spangle of deepening red. Everybody. This is what people call a view. And you knew that from below you wouldn't look nearly so high overhead. You know now how high overhead you are. You knew from down there no one could tell. He says it behind you, his eyes on your ankles, the solid bald man. Hey kid, they want to know. Do your plans up here involve the whole day, or what exactly is the story? Hey kid, are you okay? There's been time this whole time. You can't kill time with your heart. Everything takes time. Bees have to move very fast to stay still. Hey kid, he says, hey kid, are you okay? Metal flowers bloom on your tongue. No more time for thinking. Now that there is time, you don't have time. Hey. Slowly now, out across everything, there's a watching that spreads like Hitwater's rings. Watch it spread out from the ladder. Your sighted sister in her thin white pack, pointing. Your mother looks to the shallows where you used to be, then makes a visor of her hand. The whale stirs and jiggles. The guard looks up. The girl around his leg looks up. He reaches for his horn. Forever below is rough deck, snacks, thin metal music, down where you once used to be. The line is solid and has no reverse gear, and the water, of course, is only soft when you're inside it. Look down. Now it moves in the sun, full of hard coins of light that shimmer red as they stretch away into a mist that is your own sweet salt. The coins crack into new moons, long shards of light from the hearts of sad stars. The square tank is a cold blue sheet. Cold is just a kind of hard, kind of blind. You have been taken off guard. Happy birthday. Did you think it over? Yes and no. Hey kid. 2 black spots, violence, and disappear into a well of time. Height is not the problem. It all changes when you get back down. When you hit with your weight. So which is the lie? Hard or soft? Silence or time? The lie is that it's one or the other. A still floating bee is moving faster than it can think. From overhead the sweetness drives it crazy. The board will nod and you will go, and black eyes of skin can cross blind into a cloud-blotched sky, punctured light emptying behind sharp stone that is forever. That is forever. Step into the skin and disappear. Hello.